There's something about you people don't want to openly admit, but they think about it anyway. So we're going to dive into what people are afraid to admit about you. Okay, so this is going to be a collective reading, so there are no piles. So just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay, so what are people afraid to admit about you? There's someone that feel like they were wrong about you. Wrong, like I feel like for the collective, people tend to project onto you their own perception of you, especially if you are like very attractive or conventionally attractive. People just have perceptions of you, right? They fill in the blanks, or based on how they perceive you, they make up stories or assumptions about you. Okay, so like I don't know why I heard bird brain. Like that's rude, but there could be somebody saying that like that was their impression of you, but then they may feel like they don't want to admit that. They're afraid to admit that they were wrong about like your intellect. Maybe you challenge this person intellectually and they're feeling some type of way about it. What are people afraid of admitting about you? We have the Seven of Pentacles. Some people are afraid to admit that you are someone who is worth investing in, or they fumbled you, okay, because you were worth investing in with the Seven of Pentacles. But something that people are afraid to admit about you is that you are somebody that your value increases with time with the Seven of Pentacles. You're not the type of person that your value decreases over time. It increases because you're always continuously improving yourself. What are people afraid to admit about you? Yeah, we have the Four of Pentacles. Some people could be possessive over you or controlling or holding back, but some people are afraid to admit that your boundaries, your self-respect is triggering to them, because the Four of Pentacles could be like a reserved energy holding back, keeping your distance. Okay, so some of you, you're more like distant or keeping your energy to yourself, and some people are afraid to admit that that bothers them, that they want to be part of your inner circle, that they want to get to know you, they want to be able to be part of like your community, or just being able to have access to you. And the fact that you holding back and you're preserving your energy could be triggering for some people. What are people afraid to admit about you? Ooh, wow, we have a lot of pentacles here. Okay, grounded energy. Yeah, people are afraid to admit that you are more valuable than they give you credit for. I'm telling you something about your value. It could be like even the way that you think, the way that you express yourself. Maybe some of you could be in operations, like maybe you bring great points, like you point out certain process or workflow inefficiencies here and there with the Three of Pentacles. And people could be afraid to admit that you are someone that has amazing leadership capabilities or operational capabilities with the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so it could be related to your workplace, because we have a lot of pentacles is giving tangible energy, but it's also giving grounded practical energy. So I feel like this could be like the workplace where certain colleagues are starting to give you your respect, or like also not just giving you your respect, but there's also this energy where people in the workplace or people around you, they're afraid to admit that you are someone who brings out valuable points. Okay, so what are people afraid to? Ooh, we have the Seven of Wands. Something about your boundaries here. There's something very respectful and reputable about you that people are afraid to admit. Like they're afraid to say that they have to put respect on your name. It's like they're being forced to put respect on your name with the Seven of Wands. What are people afraid to admit? Wow, that you're multi-talented here. There's many layers to you, okay? You're resourceful. They're afraid to admit that about you because they may have downplayed your value initially, or your capabilities. Like there's a word for it. It's not downplay, but it's like similar to downplay. Oh my gosh, the word is not coming to me, but this is like the word that I'm getting for you with the Magician. Yeah, oh my God, it's not coming. Somebody does not want you to notice. But yeah, with the magician, what I'm getting here is people are afraid to admit that you are also inspiring. Okay. What are people afraid to admit about you? Ooh, oh my God, your value, your leadership qualities, operational, because the King of Pentacles is more like operational. This is somebody who's able to run a business, somebody who understands system, workflows, streamline, like, like streamlining processes, workforce management. This is what I'm getting here with the King of Pentacles. So you may have those capabilities with the King of Pentacles, but I feel like you're well versed in it. And that's what something that people are afraid to admit about you. But you're also dependable, reliable, trustworthy. This is what I'm getting here. So your respect in the workplace, I feel like it's the workplace, guys. Heavy on the workplace. Or if it's not the workplace, it's like in your community of people, or it's like your leadership qualities and your contribution is more visible now than it was before. What are people afraid to admit about you? We have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords is calm, cool, and collected energy, putting something to rest. But some people are afraid to admit that when you come around, your energy is like cooling, peaceful. It brings a lot of stability everywhere you go. Okay, so with the Four Swords, you stabilize the room. You are influential in that sense. Okay, you know how to um, direct or bring engagement, ongoing engagement. How are people what are people afraid to admit about you? That I'm telling you, you're influential. The Page of Wands can represent an influential energy, inspiring energy. So you're extremely inspiring, extremely influential for a lot of people. Okay, they take to you, they look up to you, but some of them, they're afraid to admit that you are their source of inspiration, that you are the blueprint. What are people afraid to admit about you? We have the Five of Cups. So with the Five of Cups energy, what I'm getting here, people are afraid to admit that how your absence affects them, like not having access to you. This could relate to people that once had access to you, but they forfeited their right because of like how they behaved towards you, and now you removed your access immediately with the Five of Cups. What are people afraid to admit about you? Ooh, the 501 to come out. They're afraid to say that you're a competition, but we have judgment here. Yeah, some of them, they're afraid to admit that they misjudged you. They judged you harshly based on their own perception or experiences and not necessarily the reality of you. What are people afraid to admit about you? Ooh, the Death card. Scorpio energy, powerful, resilient, magnetic. This is what people are afraid to admit about you. They're drawn to you naturally. You invoke change, you invoke transformation in others. So you're the type of person, wherever you go, whether it's like in a room, whether it's like in an environment, any new environment, you change the atmosphere. You affect how people conduct themselves. You affect how people think. You not only do you initiate change, you encourage change with the Death card. Okay, and this is something that people are afraid to admit about you. You make people think, reevaluate themselves. So what are people afraid to admit about you? That you are someone who is knowledgeable, okay, accredited with the World card, accomplished, because the world card is completion. I can't even speak. What are people afraid to admit about you? Just one card, please, Spirit. What are people afraid to admit? Wow, Five of Pentacles. There is an energy of being left out or neglected, but I'm also getting like people are afraid to admit that they may have counted you out and it was a mistake. It was their mistake, like for counting you out. It wasn't the right move. They shouldn't have counted you out. This is what people are afraid to admit about you. That you were more valuable than they give you credit for initially, and now they're seeing the value, but it's kind of like too late to spin the block, because they may have already formed an opinion. And then not only have they formed an opinion, they may have also treated you a certain way before knowing the full scope of you. And now it's like it's too late to backtrack. What are people afraid to admit about you? Just one card, please, Spirit. What are people afraid to admit? Ooh, oh my gosh. King and Queen of Pentacle. Pentacle, wow. Pentacle. Yes, you are a grounded individual. I'm telling you, valuable. That's like the main theme for the collective, for this reading. Valuable. This is what people are afraid to admit about you. You are more valuable than they give you credit for, because your value is silent, is not measured by a performance, is measured through consistency and quality of like what you produce. Some people, they could only perform well one time, while you, over a period of long time, where does like a track record, you have like a track record of continuous improvement and excellence, because we have the three of pentacles. So this is something that people are afraid to admit about you, because maybe they may have thought like you were going to be like a, you know how they say one hit wonders, or like, you know, just a fluke, right? Like your success will be a fluke, but it's not. It's ongoing success, continuous success with the Queen of Pentacles. What are people afraid to admit about you? What are people to are ooh, we have the Empress. You could be a Libra or a Taurus here. And if you are a Taurus and it's your birthday today, happy birthday, okay? So people are afraid to admit that you are abundant, that you are beautiful. Okay, this is something that people want to hate. Maybe like when you were younger, it's not that you were not attractive, but you were still forming, right? You were a kid, and then you grew into your beauty. Now you are a gorgeous woman or a handsome man with the Empress energy. And some people, they are afraid to admit that your beauty and your looks are like evident with the Empress energy, but your creativity, your not only your creativity, your abundance here is prominent. Okay, it's felt, it's seen, and some people don't want to admit that about you. Okay, that you're very creative, that you're bound abundant with the Empress. Okay, luxurious. There's something luxurious about you that people don't want to admit. Okay, what are people are afraid to admit about you? Some people are afraid to admit that they fumbled you, like whether it's friendship, relationship, work, even. They're afraid to mention that. What are people are afraid to admit about you? Oh, that they miss you. Oh my gosh, that you held an emotional, a very deep and sensible place in their life, in their heart. So you definitely have people that are in the Five of Cups that miss you. Yeah, it's really about your value, your essence, the familiarity, the emotional support, the emotional anchor that you provided for people. They are afraid to say that they missed that. They don't want to look like I heard like a sucker. Like some people are too prideful to say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Like I want to repair this relationship, I want to repair this connection. They're too prideful to say that. So they rather lose you and then suffer in silence than admit it out loud that they fumbled you, that you were valuable, that they cared with the Six of Cups. Okay. So what are people afraid to admit about you? We have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, like they're afraid to admit that your boundary setting with the Four of Pentacles here twice is affecting them deeper than they let on with the Six of Cups. In that your Four of Pentacles energy, your boundaries, yourself, like the way that you're reserved, the way that you, once you pull your energy back, you pull your energy back completely, and it's like there's no back and forth with you. Once you pull that energy back, that's it. They don't get a second chance. They don't do it. There's no do over. Like there's some people, that's how they operate, right? They do back and forth on constantly for years. You don't do that. Once the door is closed, it's closed. Okay, so what are people afraid to admit about you? They respect that as well. They do respect your boundary, but even though they don't really like it, but they respect it. We have the Six of Pentacles, that you were the one thing that they're afraid to admit about you is that the value that you brought to the relationship was a lot higher than the value that they brought you. They're not as valuable as they thought they were. When they, in hindsight, when they look at the relationship with you, they're seeing that your value is a lot more higher than theirs. With the Six of Pentacles, you were giving more, you were more generous, more thoughtful than they were. Okay, and it's not really a loss for you, it's a loss for them. What are people afraid to admit about you? What are people ooh, Ace of Cups. You're genuine. Your love, the way that you operate, your integrity, okay, is genuine. What are people afraid to admit about you? Wow, the death card, Scorpio energy again. You're powerful. Okay, you're influential. This is something that people don't want to are afraid to admit about you, that you influence them. Like you were a positive light in their life. You're a positive guide in their life, and they're afraid to admit that because they mishandled you. That's why they're afraid to admit that about you. Okay, they know that they mishandled you. You're magnetic. They can't get enough of you. Some of them, they're obsessed with you. What are people afraid to admit about you? Ooh, we have the sun. Okay, yes, you're confident. You're powerful. I'm telling you, influential. Yeah, your success, your abundance, your positive energy, your regal energy is something that can irritate a lot of people that are not healed. But that influence, that power, that success, that genuine energy that you possess is something that people are afraid to admit that they are drawn to. They are influenced by that. They are inspired by your light. A lot of people, they take your style. A lot of people, they bite your style, but they don't want to give you credit. What are people afraid to admit about you? We have the Ace of Swords. I can't make it up. It's the truth. People are afraid to admit that you were the real, like you are the real deal, not you were, you are the real deal. So they're afraid to admit that who they're trying to emulate is you, who they're trying to copy is you, but they can't do it quite like you because they don't have the sauce, because the sauce is you. It's not something that you say you do, is who you are as an essence, your personality, who you are, like everything about you with the sun card. This is something that they can't copy, they can't duplicate, and this is something that they're afraid to admit about you. Oh my gosh, you are their wish fulfillment. Oh my gosh. What? They're envious of you. That's what they're afraid to admit about you, that they want what you have. You are the blueprint. That's what they're afraid to admit. That's, like I said, the value that you brought, like they cannot replicate that. Like now they're trying to basically, the thing about you, my collective, is that you're always improving. You're always leveling up. You're always transforming. So because of that, because we have the death card here twice, you're shedding skin and you're becoming a newer version of yourself. So your blueprint that you have, which is you, is always tweaking. It's always like you're always in development. You're never in the final stage because you never stay the same. And that is something that these people, they don't want to admit that this is inspiring, but they can't keep up with you. They desire this. They desire your outcome with the Nine of Cups. You have the best outcome. So what are people afraid to admit? Wow, we have 3 aces for you. Holy moly. With the Ace of Wands, what are people afraid to admit about you? That's the card of inspiration as well. This is influential energy, okay? You're very attractive, very sexy with the Ace of Wands. You have this magnetic flair to you, magnetic energy, especially with the death card here twice in the sun. Like you're too powerful for these people. They can't contain you. That is something that they don't want, they're afraid to admit about you. Like you are one of a kind. That's what they're afraid to admit about you. They can't categorize you or put you in a box, and that's the problem. They can't define you. Okay? So that's all I have for the collective. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you in the next video.